Last time we cut out these images, and what we found was there was a slight issue with having some of the grass and things from the background image which actually went over the animal. In some cases this is going to be really easy to deal with, in some cases it will be a lot harder. First thing I'm going to do though is I'm just going to make my lemur a little bit bigger. So I'm going to select the lemur layer, Control T to transform, hold down my shift key to make sure that he stays at the right size, and I'm just going to make the lemur bigger like that. Now what you'll notice is that the lemur looks really blocky, but when I press enter it puts it back to the normal resolution. So don't worry if it looks blocky, it will be fine. Now my iguana, I've still got some problems with my background there, I'll go and rub those out later. My iguana over here, I'm going to want him to sit at the bottom there, and I think he needs to be a bit smaller. So let's just make sure he's sitting on the bottom. I haven't actually got a tail for him, so he's going to need to come off the side there. And then the sand cat, wrong layer. So my sand cat, I think he might benefit from being on at the side, and maybe I could put some writing up here later. So if we have a look at this iguana, then we've got this problem with the green showing over here. I'm going to use a thing called a clone stamp tool. Now what the clone stamp tool does, so we select clone stamp tool like that, and I'm going to make it a little bit smaller, is it takes part of the image and uses it over the other part. So I'm going to hold down the Alt key and click, and that creates my sample. I'm still on the sandcat layer, I want to be in the iguana layer. Right, Alt key and sample. And you see now, wherever I go, it's willing to put that on as a patch. So I'm going to patch that there. Alt key to resample, and just patch that there. This I'm going to patch from up here, and then this bit, it's got that fold in it, so I'm just going to take the patch from there, and you can see you can preview it as you go, and that looks fairly good. Again, I could do the same here, and I could remove all of these little bits of grass from over his body so he looks like a normal iguana. So that's our image for the time being. I think we could possibly introduce more animals, different elements, maybe put a background in, more layers, and we just carry on modifying it like that. The other thing we can do is, if we want a sort of background which is not a picture or something like that, is we can put in a thing called a gradient. So if I find my gradient tool, which is by the paint bucket, and I can create a gradient which goes across my image like that. Now you see the gradient is on a different layer, and I can select it any which way I want, and in fact I can even change the colors that I have. So I could change it like that and have a gradient that looks like that, although that starts to look nasty down here. So we can sort out all these different things to make it look nice by rubbing out a little bit more of that image. I'm going to go back and have a look at this one. The only thing that is a problem with this image now is that we've got these animals. We can take away all the bits that are on them, that's fine, but we don't have shadows at all, and so they look like they've just been sort of stuck on to the image. To create shadows is going to be the subject to the next video, and I will talk about that then.